Hello and welcome each and every one of you. Today again with you is me, Daiga and Morgan. You already know who we are, so I think long introductions is no needed. So everybody who knows us already knows us. This is our actually guess which program it is for us. Which one it is?
Number 27.
You good.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I cheated. It says it right up there. So
Okay. Okay, you
I
cheated.
can read.
But that means everybody already knows us.
Yeah.
So, hello Morgan, how you
Hi.
been?
Hi. It's good to be here. It's again another beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. It's raining today, but good news, it's not snowing because we've had again a lot of snow this year, which is I don't know if that's supposed to be normal, but it is winter and we are in the north, so we can expect that. It's beautiful, but it's hard to drive in it sometimes. But yeah, I'm good. I'm working, of course, I'm, very deep and immersed in the coursework I'm teaching with the Course of Miracles. So that's just magnificent work. And you get to be a part of that, which I love that you come with us and you're doing that journey, a journey to a place where there's no distance. And that's, and it truly is, there's no distance to it. It's just, from the head to the heart. That's sometimes the longest journey. So yeah, it's that work is really good, and it's really at a pivotal point in time. I know that I speak to a lot of the students outside of the class, and it's just unanimous that everybody's going, this is perfect for right now. This is exactly what I needed right now. And so I'm really grateful that when those divine ideas are present, that, you can always say yes or you can always say no. But I'm grateful that for right now, I chose to say yes to moving this forward and creating curriculum. It's not like just go pull a curriculum off the shelf. It's a development every week. And then the good news is I will teach it again because I can see how powerful and important this work is. So all the hard work's being done now, and so it'll be easier to present. So I'm grateful for that too, and grateful for the genius that I was endowed with, that I can do this and give it. So yeah, there's that. But I know we're going to want to what we're going to talk about today.
Where we going
Where
today?
are we going today? Well, yesterday, March 1st, was the birthday of a very important person in my life. And that person was an ex-mother-in-law. And she's passed away many, I don't know, I think she's been gone about 20 years now. But she's the person who saw me for who I am. She was really the first person to really see who I am and related to me at that level. So I was married to her son, which was not a good marriage. It was really not a good marriage, but I had committed to it. I damn well was going to make it work. And one way that I did that was through making sure he had whatever he needed, right? She witnessed how I was being with people. She witnessed how I was operating within that marriage. She witnessed what was happening with me in giving myself always away. And she had the most beautiful courage of love to talk to me about that. So this woman, her name's Louise. I'll just say her name out there. Louise was, in some ways, my earth angel. I say that I was married to him so that I could know her, and she said the same thing. So shortly thereafter, he left the marriage, and which was perfect. It was absolutely perfect, and I maintained my relationship with her. At the time that he and I were married, we lived in New Orleans. That's where I met him. That's where we were married. We had a child together, and our child was born there. But we had come to the Pacific Northwest to visit his family, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the trees and the water and the cool air. And we came at Christmas time, so it was cold and snowy, and there was mountains. Well, where I grew up, it was the South. It was a lot of times at Christmas time, you were still wearing shorts and T-shirts and flip-flops, But here it was like this. It was so different. It was so vitalizing, the crisp air, and I could breathe, and it was such a difference. And when we had gone back home, I said, I want to move. I want to move there. I want to live there. I could just see that life there would be magnificent. Well, he did not want to move to the Pacific Northwest. He did not want to be around his family, but his mom and I had already formed this beautiful bond of love and kindness and regard for one another that I'd never experienced in my life before. So I won. We moved, and we came here, and it was shortly after that. He really didn't want to be here, and he left me, and which was fine. I was totally embraced and loved and cared for by Louise. And I knew it. It was like I could feel that huge love. Well, so that's a long story to get to what I want to talk about today. She had given me a book at that time to read called The Art of Selfishness. And it was written by a man named David Seabury. And I was always taught, you do not be selfish. No, no, no. That is like bad to be selfish, right? That's that, in the Baptist church where I grew up, we learned that it is better to give than to receive, right? And on the outside of that, that looks like probably a good, that might work. And it might work if you are filled up yourself, right? So this art of selfishness was because she was in my consciousness all day yesterday, and still this morning when I woke up. I was thinking last night when I was going to bed, and I was really giving thanks to her and for what she offered to me in this. So I guess I was doing like a blessing of my ancestors, because in some odd way she became an ancestor of mine. And all of a sudden that book, like I remembered it, The Art of Selfishness. So I was thinking about that in terms of healthy selfishness, and then there's unhealthy selfishness, like entitlement, and I see a lot of that going on in our world today. This this entitlement thing, which that's not healthy selfishness. That's very unhealthy selfishness. So I just kind of put some thoughts to the idea of selfishness. I wrote some notes. Let me just pull up my notes so I don't miss anything, because I thought they were brilliant. So let me. So okay. So I wrote down constructive selfishness. And what we mean about that, it's not about justifying selfishness for ego gain or at the expense of someone else. So that would be constructive selfishness. It is about practical self-preservation done in a way that checks the ego at the door, and all our actions that we do lead to a higher quality of life for all involved. Healthy selfishness, we look at that. So if we're looking at being healthfully selfish, what do I mean about that? And what I mean about that is I look at where I was when she found me, where I was being unhealthily unselfish. That's unhealthfully unselfish, which was not good for me and not good for anybody, because the drive even behind the unhealthy giving myself away and making sure everyone had what they needed, I left myself out of that equation. And when you leave yourself out of the equation and you don't fill yourself up, then you're really giving from an empty place. So, so healthy practices for being selfish, which really just means self-care, really means, elevating and remembering yourself as the divine. And we talk about that in our classwork. And checking your ego at the door. We talk a lot about the ego in the classwork, that aspect. And I was really even in that unhealthy giving myself away. It was really all ego driven. It was the fear of losing my husband. It was the fear of not doing it right. It was, okay, well, I got myself into this marriage. I got to see myself through it, right? It had nothing at all to do with loving myself, knowing myself, being present with myself. It had nothing to do with that. So once I began to look at my unhealthy givingness to others, I began to let those practices go, because I could see what they were doing to me. And it was also informing others around me that they could get what they needed from me. And I'm going to repeat that again. It was also informing everyone around me, every relationship, what they could get from me, because I had no boundary. I had no me. I had nothing. I was just a source of energy for others. And that's what that unhealthy, unselfish giving does. It informs others that they can just tap into you and get what you want. And if you don't, then there are consequences to that. And it's usually some kind of threat, or I won't love you anymore, or I'll leave you, or whatever. And that truly happened with my husband, because when I started practicing healthier me practices, he couldn't be there anymore. He had to go away. And part of that was me coming to live here, was a very, it was an act of me caring for myself so much because I needed to leave where I was because it was very unhealthy. And when we immerse ourselves in unhealthy situations, like where I grew up was, if I would have stayed there, my life might have been very different. And so I'm grateful that I had the courage to say, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing. But it was for my my growth. It was for my healing that I did this, and for the future of my children. So that book really set me off on a beautiful path of not only self-discovery, but self-care. So what are some ways we can care for ourselves that develop a healthy sense of self? So that could be meditation, developing a regular, dedicated daily meditation practice. And what that means is to close your eyes, close off your world, go deeply within your own heart, and just be silent there. Just have the courage to block out all the busyness of the world, all the to-dos, all of the what others want, and just come to that place of sweet quietness within yourself. So that is a very healthy way to develop a sense of self. Alone time as well, just even if it's not meditation, just extracting yourself from others and situations. Become comfortable being with yourself, and in becoming comfortable with being just with yourself, you can then do something I call falling in love with yourself, where you begin to appreciate yourself and to accept yourself so much that you just fall in love with you. And then those kind of practices will begin to lead to other beautiful practices like excellent physical care, of your body, of your mind, of your emotions. And learning healthy boundaries is so important in this art of selfishness, because without healthy boundaries, and I touched on this before, in unhealthy giving yourself away, people can just tap into you and get your energy, get your money, get your love, get whatever they want from you. But there's nothing reciprocal. There's nothing to feed you back up. So really, we can only feed ourselves. We can only love ourselves. We can only nurture ourselves. We can't expect that from others. So learning healthy boundaries, out of those good practices, we learn that, I love myself so much that I know when I might be entering into an unhealthy relationship, because now you have a new barometer within you that you can check into, that you know whether or not it's going to enhance you and help you grow, or if it's just going to suck your energy, your life, uh, your um, your resource, who you are. So looking at healthy selfishness is so important. Now, once we can begin to come back within ourselves and develop a relationship with our own goodness, with our own internal barometer, that's healthy, that is not being yanked around by our ego, we can touch onto something that is divine and holy. So I call that the Holy Spirit. We begin to develop the relationship with that spiritual aspect of us, the Holy Spirit aspect of us that is alive and well within us when we begin to um, do that meditation, when we turn the world off and we come within, then we can begin to tap into that eternal presence that is within us. And then when we have the capacity to do that, then we can begin to fulfill some of those commandments that were written about in the scriptures. And one of those is to love your neighbor as yourself. Well, that's the second commandment. Well, that's fine and beautiful to love your neighbor as yourself, but how are you loving yourself? So for me, that's the question. How are you loving yourself? So if you love your neighbor as yourself and you don't have healthy boundaries and you give yourself away, how are you loving your neighbors? Not very well, right? But when you come to that healthy development of a strong self, and that strong self is more than just the identity that's been given to you. It's your essence. You develop your soul essence, your life essence. When you love yourself and enhance yourself and care for yourself, then when you love your neighbor, your friends, whatever, from that place, the experience is so different. It's so very different. It's not shallow, it's deep and beautiful and wonderful. And everyone knows, your what you accept in your life, and no one gives to you anything less than that. Because you have increased your own worthiness, right? You have increased your worthiness by focusing on yourself. So today I'm so grateful for I call her my friend, my dear friend Louise. Even though she was my mother-in-law, she was deeply my friend, my earth angel, that helped me understand that caring and healthy selfishness is absolutely necessary to be on the path that I'm on. Because even on the path where I was dedicated to giving to others, but I was giving to others out of a depleted self. And when you do that, then there are other things that follow with that, which is resentment and anger and I'm not enough. And, the whole, and you get depressed, all of that lower density stuff comes crashing in on your world. So that's really what I wanted to talk today about, was that place of coming into alignment with yourself. Selfishness has a bad rap on that word, right? You're not supposed to be selfish, that's, but the truth is we must fill ourselves up. Even, all the great masters, what do? They practice meditation. Jesus would go off for 40 days at a time to fill himself up, to get right within his own beingness before he could go out and minister. And so I have learned those beautiful, healthy ways of being because of this woman that loved me enough to point out where I needed to grow and do it in a very loving and good way. So that's really what I wanted to share today. So Daiga, how's that landing on you? What's stirring within you through these words?
It straight away stirs in me messages from my youth, from my childhood. You cannot be selfish, and selfishness is not good in general. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be giving, you need to be loving, you need to, like, all what you have ready to share and give to somebody who is besides you, like you being in relationship with your husband, yeah, your family, you giving literally everything for your family, yeah.
Yep.
So I have exactly the same message, and when I start learning different ways than you, but when I start learning about selfishness and you have to put boundaries in place and you have to protect yourself first and not do things which you really with all your heart feel I don't want to do, yeah,
Yep.
then obviously straight away you stare pot because oh my god, you are so selfish, you're not part of family sort of thing, yeah. You
Yeah.
doing what you want to do, like me moving from my country to England, yeah.
Yep.
I am actually by my family's extended families and even quite close families, yeah, thought I am selfish
Yep.
to do that, yeah.
Yep. Yep. You know, it can appear that way to others when, especially when you've taken away their resource, right?
First, I take research away, but maybe not as much because in my country is expected. Yeah, in England I don't feel this so much. In England, I find at least those people who I've been with and interact with that in England is like you have kids grow up, they go their own way, yeah, sort of, and parents will live on their own, kids will live on their own, make their families, and sort of, you're not supporting parents so much, you're not around them constantly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In
Mm-hmm.
my country, from ages and ages ago is something different. Like uh, you are all family live in big family house. Yeah, there is great grandmother, there is great granddad, there is grandparents, there is mom, dad, there is maybe some aunt in between. Yeah, or you all like big family growing together, looking after each other and reporting to each other, yeah. So like this community, yeah, in one house, family's community. And I was since childhood was like told I'm very selfish because I'm not part of this community. I needed my space. I just crave for my own space and for my own time and all rest of it.
Yeah, you do. And I know for myself that having left, nurtured myself, developed the capacity from nurturing myself. I could love more, and I could love without that ego attachment of I gotta love you even though I don't really want to, or I got to do these things, right? What coming and working with my own self and my self love. Then when there are needs of my family, I can give from a healthier, more beautiful place. You know, even with my mom, I ended up inheriting my mother from the Katrina hurricane that happened in New Orleans, right? Devastating. And my mother, she lost everything she owned, every stitch of underwear, right? Everything was gone, just all gone. And which was great because she had no physical baggage to bring. She had a lot of emotional baggage to bring, but I could so be present with her. I could so be in a place of being a light for her. I could so come from a place of uh, loving her and wanting the best for her. Had I not done the work that I did moving here and learning these practices, I'd still be pissed at her for all the crappy things she did. Right? I could, because if I gave you the list of things, you go, oh man, how could you even love her? Right? I mean, and we probably all have stories like that, right? But the truth is, I had to come heal me so I could learn to love her, so I could be present for her at the time that she needed me to love her unconditionally. And I remember so clearly saying to my sister that when I go, and we knew mom's end of life was coming, at some point within the next few years, because she was getting close to her 80s at that time. I said, I want her to know what it feels like to be loved. And that was my mission with my mother. I want her to know what it feels like to be loved, because she had not experienced that before in her life. She had not experienced that. And so the work I did, the journey I had to take from New Orleans to the Pacific Northwest, was a pivotal journey of my own self-awakening and developing the presence of love within me so I could love unconditionally. So, you never know when you're going to get a parent back. Just say it.
Thank you. Thank you, Morganne. Thank you. You are very encouraging. But no, I moved to England for completely different reasons, because in my country at that time, get a job and everything was very difficult, and we struggled big style at that point, and I came actually for ego reasons. I wanted to earn money to support myself.
Self-preservation.
Yeah, sort of. So that was my like ego state doing this move, yeah. But now, after years being here and learning everything what I learned and know now, yeah, I think it was move for me to start do job what I'm doing now. Yeah, if I'll be in my country, I won't be able to do the job what I'm doing now.
Right.
I don't know. It could be like, if I go this way, then it could be I'm cutting all communication with my family. Yeah, and I'm doing what I want to do and what I think I have to do. Yeah, or just give myself up and my thoughts and everything up, and just be part of family and do what they want me to do, what is expected of me, sort of thing. It's like two choices.
Yeah, but in the giving from that situation, there may be resentment attached to that. It's not healthy. I got to give up myself in order to give to them. And that's where I was. That's where Louise found me, giving myself up to everyone around me. It had become my way, because that was how I probably protected myself when I was a kid. If I could just give you what you needed, if I could give you what you needed, then I would be safe. Right. So that's kind of like, so that's very unhealthy. But as a little kid, you don't know that. You're just trying to be safe. And so I became an expert of predicting what you might need. I became an expert at that.
You've been very good.
Right? And then when you are giving what you predict someone might need, then people are like, oh, you're a little bit elevated, right? Your ego gets a little bit bigger, and then you begin to practice that skill even more. And that's just all ego. That's just all that. It's not coming from a state of love. It's coming from, I need to protect myself, so I better learn this skill. And this worked. It became my strategy of survival. So, in order to become selfless in giving, you must become selfish in giving to yourself first. Loving self first, developing that holy relationship with yourself, so that you're not giving yourself away. So thank you for having this beautiful conversation with me this morning.
Thank you. Do we are ready to do some meditation today?
Sure, Spirit's always ready for that. Obviously, I never know what it's going to come up with, but let's just go within and let's see where Spirit leads us today, okay?
Okay.
Let's begin by just coming home to yourself. And let's begin that by just notice around you where you have extended your energy. Maybe into work or a project or people or your beloveds or your family. And just for right now, I invite you to just bring all that energy back to yourself. If it's your work, it'll still be there when you come back. If it's a project, it'll still be there when you come back. If it's a family member, they'll still be there. If it's a person, they'll still be there. But have the courage to bring your energy back to yourself and not tether it to others. Just bring it back, and let's take a deep breath in. As we let those things just drop away for a moment. And then the things that we think we need to do, those energy attachments, who you think you need to be, things you think you need to do, anything that is outlying there in the future, I invite you to untether yourself from that and bring that energy back to yourself. Take a breath in. Bring it home. Bring all of you home. And then just be present with your breath. Conscious of that breath in and conscious of that breath out. Bringing mindfulness to even your breath. When you bring mindfulness to your breath, you can watch the journey of the breath coming within. So try that. Imagine yourself taking that beautiful breath in and watch where it goes. Breath in. Notice where your breath goes. Does it go throughout your body, or is it just going in and out of your lungs? Take your breath out, let it go. And let your body just relax in that out breath. Another conscious breath in to watch where the journey of that breath goes. And if you can, expand it even more into your being. Breath in. See if you can get it to the tips of your toes and the tips of your fingers. And then breath out. Let it go. And let all that energy where you brought that breath just relax. We're going to do that one more time. We're going to take a breath in, and this time, allow that breath to expand outside yourself. Say maybe 3 inches outside yourself. Imagine what that feels like and the experience your physicality might have with taking a breath like that. Take a breath in, expand it outside yourself 3 inches, and hold it there. And then slowly let that breath out like a balloon. You're letting it out. Because we sometimes think we end where our skin ends, and that's not true. We are energetic beings that extend. We extend into an eternal existence. But for right now, we're just going to keep it just a few inches outside of ourselves. And as we begin to become aware that we're just not this physical being, that there's more to us, there's this energetic component of us that is beyond our skin, that is beyond where we think we end, for we cannot end. We are attached to an eternal divine life. So begin to allow that knowingness in. And bring your awareness to your heart space. And in Course in Miracles, we talk about that beginning to enter into your right mind, to your right thinking, right there in that heart space. Take a breath into your heart space. Awaken that heart space. Awaken that right mind. Exercise it by breathing into it and expanding it. And then relax it by letting the breath out. Bringing your awareness back to your heart. Beautiful breath in. Expand that heart space. And breath out. Relaxing that heart space. And as we have been having this beautiful conversation about the art of selfishness, who is the self? I am. I am. Developing within yourself, I am. Be still and know I am God. Come back to your heart. Stay in your heart. Be still and know I am God. Breathe into that. Expand that into your heart space. Breathe out. Relax. Be still. And know I am. Breathe that in. The out breath, relax that heart space. Be still and know. Breathe in. Expanding that heart space. Breath out. Relax the heart space. Be still. Sweet breath in to be still. A sweet breath out. Be still. Back to your heart space. Be. Breathe into the be. Ever so sweetly and gently. Be. And on the out breath, relax into your beingness. Be. Stay focused on your heart. Develop the awakening of your heart. And as we put that emphasis and that attention on our heart space, we have now moved ourselves into our right mind, where we can awaken and remember who we are truly. That we are the holy child of Creator. And that within our own beingness, the holy presence lives within. And it's so critical to begin to develop this remembering of who we are, so that as we begin to move outside of ourselves and awaken to our worlds again, that we come from this fullness of being, so that what we are giving to others is so beautiful, so precious, so full, so filled with light and remembering, that we give from that, and everything we do from that is imbued with that energy. So every givingness now is given with that love, with that consciousness. Take a breath in. And the more and more we check our ego at the door and refuse to bend to its littleness, the more we can awaken and remember who we are as we fill our beingness with love and light and remembering. And so come back to your hearts, where indwells the divine presence of love and light, the presence of the I am that is alive and well in you, and get to know thyself. This is where you know thyself, where you begin to love thyself and allow the love of Creator in, to nurture yourself, to take good and excellent care of yourself. Even this physical body that is temporary, to begin to honor it, care for it, for indeed it is the temple of your soul, your body temple. How do you take care of the temple? You clean it, you feed it only beautiful food that makes you feel beautiful and enthusiastic and present in your world. So from that heart space, we care for our body and we begin to care for our thoughts. So important to begin to care for our thinking mind and to take care that the thoughts that we have are not old belief systems of I could or should or can't or won't, or any limiting conversation of I have to or I should. That we begin to release that from our being too, because now we give from that place of total and complete love. So checking our thoughts and also checking our emotions, to not allow ourselves to lead by our emotions, for truly those emotions can blast people away. So come back and bring the energy of those emotions. I call emotions energy in motion, emotion. Bring back that motion and that energy to self, so that the motion, that energy and motion you're giving out is love and kindness of the divine. And when you do that, that's an inexhaustible resource. So tap into the divine within you at all times. So nurturing yourself, your body, your mind, your emotions, your soul, your spirit, that is our job to do. That is our gift to self, to our holy divine self, to show up here as the reflection of the divine. Take a breath in. Anchor that in your heart. Anchor it in your body. Anchor it in your mind and in your soul and in your whole being. And as we come and take another breath and come back into our bodies and get present with one another here, just start beginning to feel what it feels like to have taken this time. It's not much time to develop that relationship with yourself, to tap into your heart and into that divine love. See what it feels like. What does your body feel like? How are you feeling? Are you feeling happy? Good? Take a moment and just assess where you are. And as we take that honest assessment of where we are, begin to fully bring yourself back by opening your eyes, and yet still being in touch with your heart and your mind and your body and your soul. And as we come back fully together again, we meet each other as wholeness, not seeking to get something from someone else. We come as wholeness. And so it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Morganne. Thank you. Another beautiful meditation, and I can't get out of it yet.
You don't need to. You can bring it with you. You can stay with you. Bring it with you all day long.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to say to our viewers? We at the moment have 2 viewers who haven't interacted with us, but you still have a couple minutes to interact with us. So if you have some questions, please ask us.
They may be practicing the art of receiving.
Yeah, very possibly.
Yeah.
Very possibly. And thank you for being with us all our videos. So we really appreciate it. We already agreed with Morganne, if we doing something good for one person, then our job is worth it. So today we're doing for 2 people present. So that means our job definitely is worth it. Thank you, Morganne, for coming. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And everybody, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Please remember, like, share, and subscribe for my YouTube videos so we can be able to reach more people. And from our hearts to yours,